everyone, and welcome to the IPW Insider, the ongoing show that brings you up to date on all IPW news and events. I'm IPW commentator Mark Franchise.
And from the Crucial Squared Circle podcast, one half of IPW's award-winning commentary team and chairwoman of IPW's Mental Wellness Task Force, I'm Davison Sarai.
Fans, opinions may vary, but a lot of us think that we saw IPW's best show ever on October 23rd at Grave Danger 2, which came live from Vandermill Cider in Grand Rapids. Top to bottom, it was an absolutely amazing event.
I have to agree. Grave Danger 2 was absolutely amazing. The show started out with the Michiana champion himself, Mr. Derek Wolf, coming to ringside to gloat about his victory over Solo at the previous event. While doing so, he announced that Wolf Industries have hired a new intern, only to then introduce his most recent adversary, Solo.
It was explained that Solo would benefit from a mentor, and what better mentor than the Michiana champion? To show his gratitude, Derek Wolf announced that he had secured a match for Solo later in the night, which would be a hand-picked platform for Solo to show off his specialty, an over-the-top battle royal.
Don't forget, franchise, that battle royal was funded and brought to us exclusively by Wolf Industries. It was then that Derek Wolf announced that he would be wrestling tonight as well, and as you've seen before, he made a $500 challenge to anyone in the locker room who dared face him. Fans in Grand Rapids were absolutely not ready for who came out.
Davison, the fans in attendance, including the two of us, were shocked when that challenge was answered by none other than Schwartzy. He said that he declined the $500 offer and instead wanted to wrestle for Mr. Wolf's Michiana Championship. To the surprise of many, Wolf agreed to face Schwartzy that night. Then, in typical Derek Wolf fashion, he attempted to jump Schwartzy from behind, but his attack resulted in him nearly being put in a figure four leg lock.
Don't worry, fans. I can report that Derek Wolf escaped and was able to compete later in the night without injury. This led immediately to our first bout, the aforementioned Battle Royal, which featured Derek Wolf's new intern, Solo, Matt Diesel, Eddie Velasquez, Jason DeMilo, Anton Nathan, ZDP, Dean Hendricks, Felix Morio, Hazen Beckett, and Storm Graham. Once the match was underway, final entrant made his way to the ring, and it was none other than the Zodiac.
The action was hot and heavy as the participants were eliminated one by one until we were left with two men, Solo and IPW's 1-2-3 kid, the Magic Man himself, Felix Morio. It was then that Derek Wolf made his presence felt as he attempted to distract Felix, and while Morio's attention was taken, Solo swooped in from behind and eliminated him, winning yet another Battle Royal.
This bout is surrounded in some controversy, however, as it was pointed out that Storm Graham was never officially eliminated over the top rope, but was instead thrown to the outside between the top and middle ropes. Franchise, I'm told that IPW received a video message from Storm Graham explaining his feelings about his elimination and Solo's recent evolution. Roll the footage.
When Uncle Terry informed me the IPW onslaught for November 7th would be postponed, I was thoroughly disappointed. Heartbroken even. Now, due to some unforeseen complications, it looks like I have to sit in the back, biding my time, waiting for my opportunity to get my hands on that no-good, low-life miscreant, Solo. You see, Solo, you're only one of many wrestlers I've met and will continue to meet in this business that would just as quickly put a knife in their brother's back as they would take a step forward. And I don't know what you're doing it for. Maybe a little bit of money Derek Wolf's offering you. Maybe you're hoping that money could turn to some opportunity, some power. I don't know what you're selling your soul for, but you're having to sell your freedom for it in the process. Just doesn't seem like an equal trade to me, Solo. But it does for Derek Wolf, doesn't it? He's in your mind now. He's got you on a string, pulling you in every which way he sees fit. You're his groupie now. You do exactly what he says, when he says it, how he says it. And you better hope Daddy Derek loves his groupies enough to put some eyes on that backside of yours, Solo. Because you got time on your head, son. And you never know when. And you never know where. But I will come to collect it.
Clearly, there was unfinished business between Graham and the newest employee of Wolf Industries. Next up was the singles bout between Max Morrison and the warrior of information himself, Chad Alpha. Before the match, Morrison appealed to the crowd about his history with the Gold Team and how he now believes it was a mistake to ever be involved with them. He was interrupted by Chad Alpha, who turned the conversation violent with a sucker punch to the face.
The crowd was behind Morrison throughout the match, but eventually Chad Alpha was too much to overcome. We all hope to see Max Morrison back in IPW very soon. Franchise, the Gold Team consisting of Brutus Atwell, Chad Alpha, Kyler Coleman, has looked highly dysfunctional as of late.
Yeah, I heard IPW management reached out to the former team leader but have received absolutely no responses. Next up, a long-standing feud was given the chance to boil over as we saw Jimmy Showen take on the black-hearted son of a bitch, Jeremiah Nazareth. Davison, this feud started back in April when Showen was involved in putting then-referee Jeremiah through a table.
Due to their violent history involving tables, this was in fact a tables match. And we were guaranteed to see somebody slam through wooden carnage on their way to defeat. It was a surprise to no one, but Jeremiah Nazareth immediately pulled out his trusty retractable police baton. But it was somewhat surprising to see the look in the eyes of Hype Showen as he came to the ring with his game face on and a pair of nunchucks.
Ninja Turtles they are not, but both men did their best ninja impressions and ultimately were able to disarm one another, and even without weapons, they absolutely mopped the floor with one another. At one point, it looked like Showen was set to win as he sent Nazareth flying onto a table, but to everyone's surprise, the table did not break.
This led to Nazareth trying to flee the fight, but before he could get away, he was knocked off the ring apron and thrown through another table at ringside, bringing their story full circle and giving Showen the big victory. Franchise, I'm told that no one has heard from Jeremiah Nazareth since his loss. He's apparently gone into seclusion. Hype Showen, on the other hand, celebrated his victory with a cold Vandermill cider and celebrated with the fans. It will be nice to see Showen put this feud to rest as he picked up his first IPW victory since March of 2020.
In one of the most shocking turn of events in IPW history, the next match was set to introduce the new IPW Women's Championship. Our very own Davison Sarai entered the ring to announce the combatants and introduce the new title to the winner. Randy West was the first woman to come to the ring, and then she and everyone else in attendance waited for her opponent. Theme music was played, but nobody came out of the curtain. Confused, Randy West turned to ask Davison if she knew what was going on, and it was then that Davison's plan came to life.
That is correct, Franchise. It was then that I hit Randy West in the face with the IPW title and announced to you and a shocked audience that I would be her opponent. IPW management asked me to share responsibility for finding women to fight for the title, and that's exactly what I did.
Both women battled around ringside before eventually getting in the ring, where Randy West quickly established her dominance. There were several points in the match where it looked like West was going to be victorious, only for Davison to escape each pin attempt. As both women were kneeling in the center of the ring exchanging blows, Randy West took full advantage over the match and got Davison in her guillotine chokehold, which she used to win countless matches. It looked like only a matter of time until Davison was going to have to tap out, but she was instead able to turn Randy over and carry her towards one side of the ring, where Davison was able to get her feet on the ropes and secure the shocking victory, becoming the new IPW champion.
That's right, Franchise. You're talking to the new IPW champion herself, Davison Sarai. IPW management reached out to me shortly after the match, letting me know that Randy West was requesting her rematch. I set the stipulations for that match to be submissions only, so I could show Randy and everyone else around here what I'm all about. But as fate would have it, the event was canceled.
At this point, it's unclear when or if Randy will get a rematch, but I'm told that Davison has prepared a pre-recorded statement.
Let's just clear it up right now then. Franchise, roll the footage.
I asked, and I pleaded, and I pushed, and finally IPW answered me and said, yes, we will resurrect this women's division, but we're going to need your help. And I gave my help. I lined up the tournament. I'm the one who invited people to compete in it. Randy West, you're only there because I put you there. You never had to be part of the proceedings in the first place. I was in charge of that endeavor. You're welcome. And so ever since I beat you for the title back on October 23rd, all I hear is you're out there asking people about, why didn't anybody do anything about the cheating? When is somebody going to do something about that dirty loss? Really? You've been around for a long time, Randy. You know how this works, okay? A, I don't owe you anything. Second, I own the title now, which means I get to call some of the shots. Third, you didn't know this about me, Randy, but I've been tied to a commentator's booth for over 2 years, watching the stuff go down, the stuff that I've dreamed of doing since I was a little girl, and I've watched other people doing it while I describe it and make it more interesting. So I find out you've been getting a hold of IPW management, talking about your rematch. I won dirty. Where's your rematch? That's not how it works in my kingdom, Randy. I had to wait over 2 years to get in that ring, and I finally did it. It's not my fault our rematch got canceled. Life happens. So guess what? You're at the back of the line now. I waited all that time. You can work your way back up, and you can wait too. See you in a couple of years, Randy.
Davison, I'm not sure how you have the kind of authority to call the stipulations in your matches already. If your next opponent isn't Randy West, one has to wonder who it will be. Well, regardless, I want to congratulate my commentary partner for her big win. Even if it was under questionable circumstances, the title couldn't be in better hands.
Damn right, franchise. In our next match, we saw Derek Wolf defending his Michiana title as he took on the shockingly groovy Schwartzy. Nobody could have expected what came next. In a turn that nobody could have predicted, we were treated to a classic wrestling bout, with Schwartzy very nearly taking the title on multiple occasions. Earlier in the night, we saw Solo join Wolf Industries as the new assistant to Derek Wolf, and that decision immediately paid dividends, as Solo was able to use the trusty iPad to secure the win for Derek Wolf, thus defending the Michiana title.
There's no doubt that Schwartzy was moving and grooving, sailing and spinning, jiving and grooving, wailing, but not winning in his IPW debut. Davison, the following match is already being talked about as match of the year, potentially, as Myron Reed, the former middleweight champion of MLW, took on the Colonel of Clappin' Cheeks, LaDon Sanders, in a high, fast, intense match that absolutely took us by surprise.
I've made it very clear what I think of LaDon Sanders, even as his therapist, but I have to say, I could have never predicted the greatness that he presented that evening.
We've seen over the last year LaDon show more heart in his matches, but Myron Reed pushed him to the absolute brink. When it looked like Myron was going to go as hard as he could, LaDon one-upped him every time. This is a world-class athlete that made his IPW debut at Grave Danger 2, and the fact that LaDon Sanders was able to capitalize and roll him up for the surprising 1-2-3 victory and send a roar through the audience absolutely blew everyone's mind, us included.
I have spoken with LaDon since the match, and I have continuously told him just how proud the IPW roster is of his accomplishment and what he's done for himself in his career. A franchise with a victory like that, of that magnitude, one can only assume that LaDon Sanders just shot up the championship ranks right here in IPW.
Easily, and Myron Reed was a class act, raising his hand after the loss.
In the continuing saga of Forever Young, Top Gun, and the Subscribers, we then saw an odd couple tag team match, with the Subscribers taking on their leader, Forever Young, and disgruntled occasional teammate, Top Gun. Franchise, as we become more accustomed to seeing these young gentlemen on our shows, I'm sensing a pattern. It does not appear that Top Gun wants anything to do with any of these three.
It's a love-hate relationship between the four of them, and in this tag team match, it almost seemed like a 3 versus 1 handicap match, with Forever Young doing everything he could not to help out his tag partner. Then at one point in the match, he decided to take full control and try to take the victory himself. The ego of Forever Young ended up getting the best of him, and as he looked to put his subscriber away, Top Gun took advantage and gave him a thunderous super kick, knocking Forever Young back on his subscriber, pinning him 1-2-3, but Top Gun coming out ultimately the lone victor in this match.
Thoughts and prayers to Forever Young, his subscribers, and the former relationship between the four. You have my deepest sympathy during this trying time.
Davison, the main event for Grave Danger 2 was a matchup unlike anything we've ever had in IPW. It's easy to say that Karam is one of the best champions in professional wrestling right now on the independent circuit. We've seen this man travel all over the country, but he is IPW's champion and is afraid of no man. He made that very clear when he issued the open challenge, and it was answered by the ruler, the destroyer, the Dread King Logan.
Old school fans of wrestling have definitely heard of a Hoss battle, and that's exactly what the fans were treated to on this night. Franchise, we've seen powerhouses come into IPW and attempt to oppose their will upon Karam, and as a non-biased commentator and spectator that night, I've got to tell you, I don't know that he's ever faced a bigger threat than in the Dread King Logan.
I've never once doubted Karam's skills as a wrestler or an IPW champion, but at one point in this match, I was convinced that Dread King Logan was going to walk out with the IPW title. Finally, at the end of the match, after taking a brutal beating, Karam seemed to take his insanity, his rage, his furiousness to a whole nother level as he proceeded to pummel the Dread King Logan in the corner. And with his final last act of desperation, King Logan gave him the finger and said, "You're a bitch." Karam was not about to take that as he proceeded to lift the Dread King Logan off the middle rope and deliver a thunderous sky-high powerbomb, which incredibly, after a hard-fought battle, was enough to put Dread King Logan away. Davison, you can't take anything away from Dread King Logan as he made his IPW debut, and something tells me he will be back, and when he does, it's going to mean trouble for the IPW locker room.
Franchise, I want to make this a point of public record. I would never try to take anything away from that man. He is a beast, and he is horrifying, and he would probably destroy anybody who tried to take what is his. I can only hope as half of this commentary team and as new champion of IPW that we see him return soon, as the fans were absolutely in love, and I have to admit, I was pretty blown away myself.
IPW fans, considering Aaron O'Ryan is injured and he had to be removed from the main event picture at IPW Undisputed this Saturday, November 20th, Karam himself has pulled out of the IPW World Championship match, which will be delayed, but the IPW champion Karam will be in attendance. Something tells me that IPW title may be the center of attention as the saga of Karam being the IPW champion continues.
I'd like to point out, Franchise, that your new IPW champion, Davison Sarai, will also be defending my title for the first time. Some people might think that that's the center of attention.
Very true. Is there word on who you'll be facing this Saturday at Undisputed?
At this time, Franchise management has said they have secured a name. I have not been given that information as yet, but I will find out when everybody else does at the event. That will give me plenty of time to formulate a game plan, as I'm fully confident that I'll be holding this title for as long as I choose to perform as a professional wrestler.
We'll also see the return of DTA members Adam Effin Wick and the lovable psychopath Tommy Vendetta. They've both been out since IPW Brawl in Battle Creek, and we're very interested to see how things have developed with Adam Wick after his brawl with Jack Price. Also, with the developing storyline between the Gold Team, we will find out as the entire Gold Team will be in attendance, as Brutus Atwell, Kyler Coleman, and the Golden Specimen, Chad Alpha, will no doubt be there to cause a disruption.
Franchise, I've also gotten word that IPW Tag Team Champions Terry Van Avery and Josh Raymond are getting close to the cutoff for their title defense. There hasn't been much news released, but both men have been dealing with injuries for the past couple of months. What I'm hearing is that they need to defend the titles soon, or they may be stripped.
So we may be witnessing the stripping of the tag team titles, or Terry Van Avery and Josh Raymond's first tag team title defense in IPW. Of course, as always, Michiana champion Derek Wolf will be in attendance with his new protege Solo, along with LaDon Sanders, the 1-2-3 kid of IPW, Felix Morio, and more. Fans, this Saturday, November 20th, we return to where it all began, Kalamazoo, Michigan, as IPW Undisputed comes to you live at 6480 Technology Avenue, right off of 9th Street in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Tickets are still available. General admission is $20. Front row is $25. Doors are at 6. The show starts at 7. We are excited to bring you one of the final events of 2021 in IPW this Saturday, November 20th at IPW Undisputed. For Davison Sarai, I'm Mark Franchise. We will see you in Kalamazoo this weekend.